I mean, this is just a tolerant police state, people. I mean, and speaking of police state, we're going to move on to police state in our next subject here, because this is a total to tolerant police state. You know, the constitutional rights are being thrown out the window. But more police state, high-tech police cruisers to hit streets en masse. In Fitchburg, Mass, the police department recently purchased a new cruiser to be outfitted with license plate reading technology, something that will help officers with traffic enforcement, as well as locating wanted criminals, Sergeant Glenn Foster said. The department used a $28,000 allocation from the city council to buy the 2009 Ford sedan, an unmarked vehicle with official police state plates. Foster said the plate reading technology will be able to scan both moving and stationary automobiles and will return information such as license and registration revocations. It's advanced enough to tell whether a plate has been switched to the wrong vehicle. And basically it's modern day technology. It reads what the car is and everything else. It's crazy stuff. And the department's traffic specialist, Officer Paul McNara, is in the process of training on the technology, which follows the data-drive approaches to crime and safety national model, Foster said. And he quotes, "We know that's been successful in other parts of the country," Foster said. "There's a substantial correlation between traffic enforcement along with response to crashes and reduction in crime. For instance, a plate scan that linked to be on the lockout notice, the reader can help police apprehend a wanted criminal quickly," Foster said. It's just nothing more to tolerant control. That's all it is. CNN.com. Police film dragging woman and babies during protest. It's from London, England, no surprise. A video has emerged showing French police evicting African immigrants with babies and their children during a housing protest in Paris, in the Paris suburb. And I've seen a video on this. This is crazy stuff, people. Actually, let me show you the video real quick.
Some video emerging that we want to bring you. It demonstrates what can happen when a basic need of an immigrant community, such as shelter, clashes with the need of a state to maintain order. And I have to warn you, I've yet to see someone watch this video and not react in some shock. It occurred about a week ago when police in a northeastern suburb of Paris tried to evict a group of squatters from a housing project scheduled for demolition. Take a look. Now, we are told that most of the demonstrators are from Ivory Coast. We want to make it very clear that in showing this, we are not accusing the police of racism. We are not implying that they use excessive force. Several people who saw this video questioned why mothers would have infant children on their backs in such a protest. This is simply an example of the difficulty one region faces in dealing with its migrant community. Now, in fact, French authorities had offered the protesters temporary accommodation in hotel rooms whilst their cases were evaluated. The video was shot by the group Right to Housing. I talked a short time ago with spokesman Michael Hoare. I began by asking him what had led up to those pictures you saw at the demonstration.
What led up to this was that the police and the prefect of the Seine-Saint-Denis had decided to use force to clear the people out of their campsite, which was just in front of the building which they had been evacuated from. The images themselves were taken by a militant of Droit au Logement, and he had the camera and was taking pictures from within what was happening, from within the group, and policemen came up. The police had already evacuated the other journalists who were around. There was one photographer from the newspaper Humanity. She got escorted out, and another camera had been taken away. And the policeman sort of got hold of this camera and just sort of tore off the LCD screen. So in fact, once that happened, the images stopped. But before that happened, he was able to film this close-up footage.
And that exactly why people is, you know, that's exactly why we're in a tolerant police state. I mean, you see those kids being dragged. The cops didn't even have no sympathy for those children. And I'm in the midst of making a police state video right now, movie documentary. It's got all kinds of videos like that and everything else, and it's just horrible, man. And I'm trying not to blow my cool, try not to go into a rant about this because I don't have much time left. Here's another one. High Court trims Miranda warning rights bit by bit. In Washington, this is August 2nd here. In Washington, you have the right to remain silent, but only if you tell the police that you're remaining silent. You have a right to a lawyer, but during and after questioning, even though the police don't have to tell you exactly when the lawyer can be with you. If you can't afford a lawyer, one will be provided for you. Do you understand these rights as they have been read to you, which, by the way, are only good for the next 2 weeks? The Supreme Court made major revisions to the now familiar Miranda warnings this year. The rulings will change the way police, lawyers, and criminals suspect interact amid with what experts call an attempt to pull back some of the rights that Americans have become used to over recent decades. Basically, another way to take your constitutional rights away. They're attacking the Fifth Amendment here. They attack the Fourth Amendment when you pull you over with no search warrants. They attack the Fifth Amendment in this case. And when you speak out, you get your butt kicked down, and there goes your First Amendment.